Hello everyone, Ryan here. So it's time for Music Monday yet again. Let's see. Actually, I thought about changing this to like Music Talk Monday, but decided against it because I just like how Music Monday sounds. I mean, sometimes I include some music from the bands I talk about. Sometimes I don't. But either way, it's Music Monday. So this week I wanted to talk about Bush. That's right, Bush. Not the former president, and not his father. The band Bush, B-U-S-H. Of course, they're a British rock band. They formed in London, England, I believe, sometime in 1992 or around that time, around the early 90s. And I remember the first time I heard their first album. Now, of course, I'm not aware if they put out any other kind of album, but as far as their debut album on a major record label, of course, is titled 16 Stone. I believe it came out sometime in, I want to say, 1994. Yeah, I don't know, or maybe a little earlier than that. But for me, it was like, I first heard it when I was, I want to say, when I just started middle school, so like 6th grade, or 6th or 7th grade. And this was during the time when I was just barely starting to get into rock music. Before that, I would just listen to whatever music my parents would listen to. Because, I mean, they always had control over the radio in the car. Not like today where, every kid has their own iPhone or some kind of smartphone and, they can listen to whatever they want to listen to. But, hey, kids today are spoiled. I realize that probably makes me sound old. But I don't care. It's, anytime they want, they can whip out their phones and listen to whatever they want to do and post a bunch of whatever stupid crap they want to post. I mean, so can we adults. But, I mean, I'm saying, like, back then, when I was a kid, I mean, just in the 90s, which to me, I don't even consider to be that long ago. Obviously, I know today's kids, they consider, to them, the 1990s are, to them, they might as well be like 100 years ago. But yeah, so anyways, 6th or 7th grade is when I barely started getting into rock music. And I believe I mentioned before, I had several older cousins that listened to a lot of rock music. They listened to grunge and heavy metal, and also some of them listened to rap, hip-hop stuff. But so Bush was one of the first bands that I started listening to on a regular basis. And their album, 16 Stone, I remember I got it I think I got the cassette tape version of it for my birthday. This was back in, like, I want to say 95 or 96. And yeah, and I played it, and cassette tapes, I know, obviously. Again, another thing today's kids don't know about. I listen to it on my Walkman. Walkman, of course, another thing today's kids don't know about. I don't mean for this to sound like a rant on, the fact that I probably don't relate to today's younger generation. But I probably don't. In fact, I'm sure I don't. So yeah, anyways, I listened to the cassette tape of 16 Stone. I just remember listening to it so many times, and I pretty much listened to it so many times that I memorized all the lyrics for every single song, even though some of them I didn't even know exactly what they meant. And eventually, as I got older, I stopped listening to Bush, on a regular basis. But I mean, I don't know. For me, the only two albums by Bush that I really like is their first album, 16 Stone, and then the second album, Razor Blade Suitcase. That one came out sometime in 96, I believe. 96 or 97, I don't know, around that time frame. And yeah, I mean, for me, those are the only two Bush albums that I actually like, that I enjoy. I mean, still to this day, I sometimes listen to them. Not as much as I used to, but because after that, I mean, yeah, I've heard their other albums, such as there was that one called The Science of Things, and another one called The Golden State, I believe. And I don't know, for me, it just seemed like after the first two albums, like, I don't know if it's because they allowed success to change their sound, or to just change the way they approached songwriting. That is possible. I mean, I'd say that's possible. I mean, yeah, a lot of people like to believe that success doesn't change people, but it does. It definitely does. That's not to say that it turns people into bad people. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, as far as when it comes to like anything creative, I mean, I do believe success does change the way musicians, artists create certain things. So, well, that's just my opinion. So, now, of course, I never got to see Bush live in concert. Even though they have performed here here where I live in El Paso, Texas. They have performed here several times over the past like 5 years. But I didn't bother to go see them. Because I mean, it's a new lineup. Yeah, Gavin Rossdale is still, I guess you could say, the main singer-songwriter. And then I think the drummer, I believe they still have the same drummer. But as far as lead guitarist and bass player, it's two other guys. And I'm not familiar with these two new guys. I mean, for me, they're new. I don't know. I think I actually liked as far as the original lead guitarist. I want to say his name was like something like Nigel Pulsford or something like that. If you bother, like, if you look up old pictures of the band, I believe he was always a guy that had his head shaved. So, but I mean, I liked a lot of the lead stuff that he came up with. I mean, because it was pretty inventive, very unique. Because I mean, it wasn't like he didn't do like a typical kind of shredding kind of solos, or even like really deep melodic or rather bluesy stuff. I remember he would play a lot of like haunting kind of guitar leads, like just, he would hold out like one note and for so long, but he would allow it to ring out in such a way that, it sometimes it sounded like if he, I don't know, like if he added like a whole bunch of extra effects on it, but I know that he didn't really use that many effects other than like distortion, slight reverb, and so yeah. I mean, to me, it's just I liked that original lead guitarist, and I guess probably that's after he left the band. It's fair to say that's when the band Bush overall changed their sound, and so. And I know a lot of other people like to blame Gwen Stefani, I mean, because I know I had a lot of friends who were also big fans of Bush, and they always like to say that because Gavin Rossdale, he got involved with Gwen Stefani. Of course, she was singer of No Doubt, and then they got married and they had kids, and they settled down, and so then Gavin Rossdale, he was MIA for a long time. Well, I guess he technically did put out some solo albums, and but I never liked his solo stuff. I don't know, for me it's just, it's, again, I only really like the first two Bush albums, because it's got that raw sound, and it's like grungy, but at the same time not too grungy, and also heavy, some of the songs Verge on the point of being almost heavy metal, almost but not quite. And then the fact that Gavin Rossdale's awesome vocals, just really add a whole lot of extra dimension to each song, and so yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know, some of my favorite Bush songs include Comedown, Machine Head, Glycerin, Everything Zen, Greedy Fly, trying to remember what else, Synapse, but ultimately, again, I'm going to say pretty much every single song in their first two albums, so yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't know, let me know if you're a fan of Bush as well. What are some of your favorite songs, Also, let me know, because I know they put out a recent album sometime last year. I want to say something, it's titled Black and White Rainbows. I might be mistaken. Something like that. Let me know if you've heard that. I haven't heard it. I gotta say, I'm not in a hurry to listen to it. I mean, I heard one of the tracks off it. I heard the first minute or so of it, and I couldn't listen to the whole thing. It was, it sounded way too slow to me, way too fluffy and poppy, and so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Bush, they're now technically a pop band or something, or I mean, that's cool, if that's what they want, if that's what Gavin Rossdale wants, he's already a multi-millionaire pretty much, so he can do whatever the hell he wants to do, so yeah, well, that'll pretty much do it. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and as always, next time, don't forget, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.